this past week was indeed a very busy and tough one for a lot of stakeholders in the building industry, as we were faced with a lot of challenges pertaining to properties. There was a building collapse incident that happened the upper week at Glover Court in Ikoyi, and we had a story building also, a gutted fire somewhere in Lagos Island at Brasas Plaza. Today on the show, we shall be looking at these issues. Welcome to the Property Show on Galaxy Television. My name is ESV Ewinla Mustafa, and of course, I'm not alone in the studio as usual. I have my co-host for today, Courage. Courage, how are you doing today?
Very much okay. My name is Courage, and I'm very, very happy to be on the show today.
Yes, good to have you. Now, one of the things that is very critical that we discuss about today is what are the remedies to building collapse? The property that collapsed at Glover Road, Ikoyi last week was a topical discussion throughout the week. As a matter of fact, the property show had to visit the site, and we saw that Lagos State government has actually sealed down that property. Not just sealing up the property, but they also demolished. The property is a 4 numbers, 2-story building. One of the structures collapsed, and of course, the Lagos State government had to carry out an integrity test. And of course, the results to that integrity test revealed that that building didn't match up with a lot of standards, and that was the reason why the Lagos State government had to pull it down. For me, I will give kudos to the Lagos State government for doing that, because this would, at the end of the day, avert a lot of problems that would also happen in the nearest future. Because if the structure wasn't pulled down, that was another evil in disguise that's going to happen in the nearest future. So for me, I give Lagos State government a big kudos for doing that. So on the first segment today, we're going to be looking at remedies to building collapse. And on the second segment, we're also going to be looking at the fire incident that happened at Brasas Plaza at Martin Street in Lagos Island. Of course, I'm not alone in the studio again as usual. I have a renowned building construction expert who is going to be helping us to dissect a lot of issues today. He was our guest for last week, and we thought that there was a need for him to come back this week so that we can totally and ultimately put end to this discussion in terms of how we can solve the building collapse issues. Good to have you again, Mr. Chris Ophili.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I know that you were stuck in the traffic, but Lagos State traffic is becoming very, very tiring, and maybe one of these days on the show we'll find time to discuss about how we can solve these issues. So now, before I bring you on, sir, let's see this video. This was an incident that happened sometime this year. It was a building collapse incident that happened sometimes in the Lagos Island as well. For me, I think there are too many incidences happening in Lagos Island, and one of the reasons for that, I think, is most of those properties are old structures, and a lot has to happen. So let's see this video of this incident that happened at Lagos Island, where some students or pupils were trapped in the building and they were trying to get them out. Then we'll come back and start the discussion. Okay, welcome back to the show. We're still on the property show on Galaxy Television. Before we went on break, I said that our topic of discussion today is going to be remedies to building collapse. From that video we just saw, that incident happened sometimes this year. It was a story building that collapsed somewhere in Lagos Island, and they were trying to bring out students that were trapped in that building, and as you can see. So these issues are happening almost every other time. Last weekend, the one that happened in Ikoyi was a topical discussion. During the week, there was a fire outbreak in Lagos Island, which a lot of people lost millions of money to the inferno. But quickly, let's start the discussion. Mr. Chris, for me, this is becoming too worrisome, and if something is not done as quick as possible, it might get out of hand. You can't keep losing lives to building collapse every other time. Sometimes I'll be at home, I'll be scared. What if this building collapse? Because most of these things we see online, most of these videos we see, most of these incidents that happen is starting to affect a lot of people's psyche. Because you don't even feel safe anymore. As we're in the studio, God forbid, anything would happen.
Exactly.
What do we do? What is the remedy?
Well, I wish we first of all thank the Lagos State government for the instant response they had with the recent collapse. Bringing down
The structure.
Because if the structure was not brought down, maybe there would have been other ones that would follow in that vicinity. Because that one already had its own problems. Now, one of the remedies, like we normally say, it's the government's response. That's why I'm commending them for this one that they're taking.
Yes.
The government response to some of these things is very important. Because if some buildings are already showing signs, because the signs will always be there, unless for new construction, you may not see the signs if there are defects. But for old buildings, there will always be signs for before the collapse can eventually happen. Now, if the government has already gone into such places, checked, analyzed it, and then taken the necessary precautions, checked it, and then found out that this thing will collapse in the next 1 year, 2 years, then notice should be given to the occupants that they should leave.
I think that's the first step.
That's the first step.
Yes.
Once that notice is given, then the occupants must at the same time leave that place. Because you're already seeing the signs. The signs are there that this structure
is going to collapse
safe for habitation. So the occupants should leave. Now, the next step is for the government to say, okay, we're going to bring it down because people can no longer stay here. And then it may be dangerous to other properties that are within that vicinity.
That's true, of course.
That response, that immediate response, government should be fair in taking such steps. Because when you leave it to linger, when you attach politics to it, it belongs to that,
yes,
then there will be something will eventually happen because you're already seeing the structure that is effective. So one of the things is that response, that action to say, okay, let us pull it down. Let government be responsive to such situations. Let them take quick action, immediate steps, so that we don't have the building coming down. That is on the government side.
Yes.
Now, when you look at the building again, in the building industry, you find out that you have sets of people. People are involved in construction. Now, if there's defects in any of the bodies that regulate the building construction, if there are defects with maybe their design or whatever, then there will be collapse of the building. The building will not be effective. So one of the things is the people concerned in the building industry, people that are involved in the building, their design should be effective too. Their design should be that will be able to withstand test of time and then keep that building in proper position. So one of the things that needs to be done is that we should have proper designs, structural, architectural, and then removal of what do they call it? Corruption. You know, because people tend to reduce quality. They reduce quality. They tend to reduce the material that they want to use for construction.
True, just to make more profit.
Just because they want to make more profit. Now these things add up to making the building defective. Now the government, I mean the people, the professionals should actually see to it that what they are putting in place is actually adhered to by whosoever has that property, by whosoever is going to do the construction of that building. That should also be in place. Those are the things that should be the immediate thing that has to be done with the
we have a question here. Someone is asking, most times people blame government, and if government plans to pull down a building, people still complain. What is really our problem? This is from Coachella.
Okay, the thing is, definitely people want to blame government, but government should be decisive.
Of course.
You have to be decisive, because this is going to affect so many other things. So government has to take that step to say, okay, let us do this. You can't, you won't, because when you leave it, you're going to have disaster. It's just disaster in the making. So government needs to take that decision to say, okay, we're going to do this, and then they will do it.
But I feel the notice period, like they give a notice and immediately they pull down the building. Where do you expect the people to move to?
That's exactly where I'm coming to, because let me say this, Mr. Chris. One of the primary obligations of every government is the protection of lives and properties.
Yes.
So when there's an evil that's about to happen, government should not only pull down structure or give notice to people that are affected, but I think ultimately providing an alternative shelter for these people is more critical. Now, the property that collapsed in the, Lagos Island earlier this year, where you saw in the video that they were trying to bring out the student, that property has been they've been served a long time ago to vacate that property, but they didn't go because there was no provision for them to go elsewhere, and eventually the property caved away, and a lot, I think some students died in that process, and as you could see, they were trying to bring out some students in school uniforms because somebody in that property was was running a school in that property. Now, let me also say this. Do you think that our response units, for example, in Lagos State, we have the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency. Do you think that they are responsive enough, and they also need to up their game in terms of salvaging a lot of situations?
Yes. Well, for this last one, their response was very good.
Prompt. Okay. Yeah.
Response.
Yeah.
And then they are working.
Yeah.
They're working, but you see, everything boils down to finance again, because maybe some of the equipment that they have may not really be
up to date.
You understand?
That's a very valid one.
Some of them may not be up to date. No funds to get some of them in place. But ultimately, for some of those buildings that are very old, either you continue the maintenance or you pull them down.
Pull them down, exactly.
Because the more you wait, the more you leave them to stay, you are bringing danger to so many other people. It's not just the owner of the building, but if it's just the owner of the building, just one person. But when you now have people staying there, have other families, so many other families are involved. So that it's not the right way to go. The person should be told, and then.
I also think we Nigerians, we don't even, some Nigerians, they don't even know our emergency numbers. You can bring like 10 persons.
Exactly.
What's the emergency? They'll be saying 911. 911 is not for Nigeria. It's not for us.
That's a general assumption by a lot of people that. Now, let me say this, very critical for the government to do is to create a lot of awareness in terms of when these issues start, or when you detect, a lot of people, like, look at the fire incident that happened in Lagos, and a lot of people started bringing out their phones to video.
Exactly.
That was not going to save any situation. People don't even have direct toll-free number to call. I mean, when I mean toll-free number, they should be free. A lot of toll-free numbers in Nigeria, they charge you.
112 is free.
112 is free. Everywhere. So now, do Nigerians even know these numbers?
They don't.
So I think now, at this point, a lot of awareness should go out to the public that in case of any building collapse or any fire incident, please call this number so that our response units, our fire services can be. So now, let me say this quickly. For me, there's been too much happening in the property sector in the past few weeks. And not just the few weeks, but in this 2019, we had a fire incident in Onitsha that people lost millions a few months ago. Another fire incident just last week in Lagos Highland. Another one, yeah, it keeps happening. I think that was one even yesterday somewhere I saw online too. Somebody was. So I think something needs to be done as quick as possible. And of course, the onus lies on our government to put all these structures in place for them to work. So now, let's go for this quick break. When we come back, we are going to talk about the Lagos Highland fire incident that happened during the week, and also look at possible remedies to prevent future occurrences of such incidents. So let's go for this quick break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back to the Property Show on Galaxy Television. If you are just joining us, we've been discussing some very critical issues. Now on this segment, we're going to be looking at remedies to inferno when it comes to properties. This week was a very, very, very sad one, as a lot of Nigerians or a lot of Lagosians lost millions of naira at the fire incident that happened at Brasas Plaza on Martin Street in Lagos Highland. Yes, the Lagos State Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, visited that incident and also promised to compensate, marketers or users of that plaza who lost millions, who lost their goods to this incident. But during the week again, we also heard on the news that the Lagos State government also pulled down that structure, which I think for me is very, very commendable. Some of the news I saw online was that there is always fire incident in that property every other year, and it's also always due to electrical fault. If you go to Lagos Highland, if you know what I'm talking about, sometimes you wonder how people even breathe. You wonder how people even manage to live in that kind of environment. The wires, the electrical cables are clustered together. Of course, this can lead to a lot of inferno. So now, I know that there were a lot of difficulties trying to pull down this fire. Lasema was trying to do their best. The Lagos State Fire Service was also trying to, but at the end, the fire kept on for a very long hours. And I think that too much also could have been done to salvage this situation. Now, Mr. Chris, let me say that you are a building expert and you have a lot of experiences when it comes to building. What are the things that you think that should be in a contemporary building to prevent fire? Not just to prevent fire, but also to send alert to users of that building in case of fire.
For fires, we have there are methods.
Yes.
Which you can deploy in a building. You can put in a building. You have the hydrant system, which is water, running pipes. You run pipes in the building to connect every part of the building. Then you have the sensors too that's alarm system that will trigger, that will tell you that look, there's fire and smoke detectors, for instance.
Smoke detector.
You know, you have that in buildings. If you have them in buildings, if the fire is going to occur, immediately you'll be aware that this is going to happen. Now, for the hydrants are expensive. It's an expensive investment, but it will ultimately save a lot of things.
Of course.
In event of a fire incident, the piping, you know, because the piping is basically steel, and then you have the pumps, you have the sprinklers and everything. Now, if that is incorporated in a building, in a high-rise building, for instance, if the fire is going to happen, the thing will trigger off itself, and then definitely the fire will be put out because it has water. Though you need constant maintenance too. You need that to be able to put out the fire in the building.
That's true. Sorry, let me butt in now. Talking about maintenance.
Yes.
Over time, even some properties that have been able to step up to modern technology, where they have these smoke detectors, water sprinklers. Now, I'm going to say that most of them have never used it before.
Yes.
So now, in case of when these incidents happen, how are they even able? How are they going to be sure that these things would even work in the first place? Because that comes to the maintenance you talked about.
Yes.
So for me, I strongly agree with you in terms of maintenance, because if you have those things in place and you don't constantly check them to ensure that these things are still working, you will discover that when incidences happen, those things will fail. Because maybe for the past 5-7 years, since it has been installed, nobody has even gotten there to go and check to say, are these things working? That also boils down to our maintenance culture.
Yes.
So let me allow you continue before I button.
So for that, the maintenance here, you know, it has gauge.
It does.
You know, gauges are incorporated in the sprinklers.
True.
Now, there will be somebody, you know, you have an expert who will actually maintain it. The person will be constantly checking, you know, to make sure that the pressure is maintained, the pressure is there.
Yes.
When you check such things, when such things are constantly checked, you find that you may not really need to put on fire to check if it's working.
True.
Because you're already checking, the pressure is complete, the pressure is correct. Then once there is fire, it will definitely come on.
For me, I strongly agree with you, but I'm going to say that we are going to beg our government. A lot needs to be put in place in terms of when fire outbreak happened. What happened in Lagos Island this week could have been prevented, or maybe the level of damage will have reduced if a lot were in place.
Yes.
Lagos Island is a congested place.
Exactly.
Yes.
I expect that our fire services will be up and running 24 hours and will be at alert. Once that phone call comes in, I expect them to get there within the shortest possible time to put these things out as soon as possible.
Yes.
Now that fire kept burning for almost 5 hours. You saw Nigerians bringing out buckets. A lot of funny scenarios were going on there. So I think that the Lagos State government, for me, they are doing so much, and I give kudos to them. But of course, it is never too much, because Lagos State is the most populated state in Nigeria.
Exactly.
A lot of economic activities going on, particularly in this Lagos Island. A lot of businesses are there. So much effort needs to be put in that area. Now, what happened this week, I'm sure we will have learned a lot of lessons from it. So I know going forward, the Lagos State government needs to put active fire services. Yes, the question is, do we have fire services in Lagos? We do. But how responsive are those fire services agencies? How responsive are? So we need to ensure that we have enough to cover that area.
Exactly.
One is not enough. Even the vehicles. Because a lot of neighboring companies were trying to assist them in putting out that fire. A lot of neighboring companies within the area.
Access to the place.
We're trying to access to the place instead of people, crowd control. A lot. So what I'm going to do is, for me, time is not our friend, but we are going to try so much to bring in a fire expert sometimes during the show to tell us what are the other methods we can also adopt to prevent these incidences from happening. Mr. Chris, thank you so much for being on the show with us today.
It's a pleasure.
We appreciate your thoughts. We appreciate your submissions. They were really helpful. And Courage it's been very nice having you as my co-host for today.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you same time next week. Stay blessed.